Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic evening or whatever time it is in your part of the world. I should be sleeping, it's very late, but I've still got adrenaline pumping through my body from hockey. We had a very late game tonight, so that's always bad because I usually sleep a lot later. But anyway, I thought because I'm awake, I may as well do a movie review. Now this is an Australian horror film, so awesome. I love my Australian stuff. It was made in 2009, so one of the more recent films to come out of my country, and directed by Sean Byrne, and this movie is called The Loved Ones. And the story is as follows. After high schooler Brent Mitchell wraps his car around a tree, killing his father, he escapes into a grief-filled world of guilt. He is kept grounded by Holly, his beautiful girlfriend and date to the upcoming school dance. As the graduation approaches, Lola Stone, the quietest girl in school, also asks Brent out to the dance, but is turned down. Hours before the dance and under the glittering light of a disco ball, Brent wakes up to a nightmarish sequence of events involving pink satin, glitter, syringes, nails, and power drills. Brent has become the prom king of a macabre, sadistic dance where he is the entertainment. So we start off with Brent. He's the main character. The first scene is him and his dad. There are no spoilers in this one. Him and his dad are in this car, and something happens which results in the car crashing, therefore costing the life of Brent's father. We cut off to many years, not many years, I think it was a few months later, and Brent has since become a reclusive. He's inside a lot, he doesn't want to go out, he's got a fear of cars, as you would after such a traumatic event, and he really is kind of losing the plot. He's fallen into a deep depression, he cuts himself, and he's just all over the place. Yeah, he's on the edge. So you kind of feel that this guy's just lost all hope and enthusiasm for life. So his girlfriend, who keeps him grounded, who tries to give him all the confidence he needs, they're going to this prom. Well, we actually call it a social, not a social, a formal here in Australia. But for my American viewers, the prom. He is going to the prom with his girlfriend Holly, and so that all seems normal enough. But then at school, just before the dance, Lola Stone, who is a very quiet girl, asks Brent out to the dance, and he says, "No, sorry, I'm going with Holly." So she doesn't take the criticism or this rejection very well, because as Brent is having one of his moments of peace and quiet on his own to collect his own thoughts, he is drugged. I'm not going to say who by, but he ends up waking up in this very strange house. He's tied down to this chair, and he realizes that he is in fact going to this dance with Lola Stone, but it's not what he had expected. And that's as far as we're going to go with the story. There are no twists and turns, but uh, it doesn't really require an in-depth sort of synopsis overview. So my thoughts on the film. I was actually quite surprised by how nasty this little film was. There were some scenes of torture that will get even the most extreme horror fans excited, because especially with the power drill, I thought that was really, really well done and very, very painful. There's quite a number of scenes that were very painful. So the MA15 plus rating, I usually can tell whether or not this is what kind of film it's going to be based on the rating. If it was really bad, it wouldn't be M15 plus. But the inconsistencies with Australia's classification system kind of leaves the door open for a surprise, and this one was a surprise for me as far as the gore goes. It was very nasty, and I don't think there are some films that are R18 here in Australia that aren't as bad as this one. So don't let the 15 plus put you off. If you're an extreme fan and you're getting the Australian release, don't let that put you off, because this one did have some very nasty scenes which will impress a lot of viewers. So yeah, the gore was very good. I actually love the atmosphere and the tone and the surreal feel to the film. Now, I always thought if Baz Luhrmann was going to make a horror film, this would be it, because it had Baz Luhrmann kind of feel to it, kind of like a fantasy sort of world, but at the same time a very real world. So I really like that, especially when the good stuff starts happening and Brent is kidnapped. That is when the surreal kind of atmosphere starts. So it's kind of like you're in a different world, a very evil world, and therefore it's very surreal, and it's like a living nightmare. So I really like that the director wanted to change the tone of the film once the good stuff happens, because at the start it's very dull and grainy sort of atmosphere, but as I said, when the good stuff happens, it gets very, very fantasy like. So I put my I give him credit for that, the director. He did a good job with the the mood settings for each particular scene. Uh, I didn't like the ending, and I didn't like the acting was good, but I didn't like the characters. Now, this is where I'm going to start to really get into the negatives. The characters were well, the actual actors playing these characters did a good job with what they had, but I think the director tried to make this film a little bit too smart for its own good. I think this is just a straight-out torture film, but he thought that he could make it a little bit more. Therefore, he's thrown in characters that didn't have anything to do with the story. So that's what I really didn't like. Now, the main character, played by Xavier Samuel, I think it is. He's also of the Twilight Saga. I haven't watched the Twilight Saga, so I can't really remember him. I've actually seen the first Twilight film, but not the others. So he did a good job, but once again, his character was likable, but there was just depth there that I didn't think needed the depth that it had. Now, don't get me wrong, I like films with a lot of depth, but this is a very teenagey kind of film, and I think that it just tried to be a little bit deeper than it was necessary, because it would have been good just to be a straight out sort of slasher teen flick. So the characters really didn't seem believable. They had real problems, but I just don't feel that it really suited the overall mood to this film. Although it's a very nasty one, I just feel that the character development didn't really go anywhere for me. It did make you feel kind of sorry for the lead character, but then there's another one of his friends and this very weird girl are also in it. I just felt that their presence it wasn't really necessary, because it didn't really have anything to do with the story. Well, there is a slight connection, but I could have done without it. So I didn't like that about it. And the ending, I thought it was a very Hollywood ending, a very pedestrian ending. I would have liked to have seen it go a different way. I could kind of see the Australian films of late have been very good with the endings, and I could kind of see where this one was going, but I was hoping it would go down the non-Hollywood type of ending. But unfortunately, it really does go that ending, and I don't know, maybe the director wanted to make this a big hit overseas or in America, and they seem to like those kind of endings. But yeah, I mean, the ending really didn't leave me satisfied, so a lot of you may be disappointed with that one. But as I said, it is very nasty in some parts, so if you're going to see this film, at least you'll get something out of it with the gore. But the acting, oh, I forgot to mention John Brumpton, who plays Lola Stone's father. Absolutely awesome actor. I love that guy, and he did a really good job as a complete nutcase. So forgot about him. I don't know why. And the young girl who plays Lola Stone, she did a fantastic job as well. Really did play the psychopath really well. So unfortunately, there's a little bit more to dislike about this one than there is to like. I'm still going to recommend it, especially if you're a fan of horror films outside of the USA. But if you're Australian, you might be a little bit disappointed, because if you're going to compare this to Wolf Creek and The Horseman and No Through Road, films like that, you're going to be disappointed. This one is more of a teenage sort of flick. It does have its moments, but I just feel that it tried to be a little bit too fancy than what it needed to be. So yeah, not a bad film, but not the greatest one either. Alright guys, that's my review of The Loved Ones. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Bye.